You're listening to the Bob and Bo Show. Here are your hosts, Ty Bob and Ty Bo. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I am Ty Bob. You can follow me on Twitter at Ty_Bob_. You can also find Ty Bo and the show at Bob and Bo Show. And don't forget Sean, who's at Sheen1440. You'll see him on the screen here if you're on YouTube. Making some different changes. If you're listening to us on audio platforms, make sure to go and give our YouTube a look. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to go find us on all your audio platforms. And we thank you. We had a big week on Tuesday. So we thank you guys for joining us, making strides along the way. This week, the Kansas City Chiefs heading into Lucas Oil Stadium, taking on the Colts and Matt Ryan's old aging ass with his MVP that nobody cared about because he's washed up. And man, I don't know about how anybody else feels. To me, this feels like a trap game. Now, Andy is amazing coming off of a bye week. But the Colts, our history with the Colts is not good.
I was going to say, it might feel like a trap game just because of our mishaps and our history against the Colts, but
most definitely, if you look back at it and back to when the Colts were in Baltimore, so this goes all the way back into 1970. The Chiefs have a 9-3 record versus the Colts, or it's not 9-3, 9-13.
I was gonna say,
sorry,
9-13.
Okay,
yeah.
I missed the one there. 9-13. Now, to give you even more context, it's looking really bad. We've had 3 wins against the Colts since 1990. That was our last. Our last win was prior to these last 3 years was in 1985. 1985.
Are these counting regular season and postseason?
This is, I believe, this is just regular season.
Okay, because a lot of the stinging losses that we've had in recent history, like after post 2000, have been to the Colts.
Yes, there was the loss in Indianapolis in the playoffs to Andrew Luck. I don't remember the year. Tybo, you're better at that than I am.
I think we might have lost to Andrew Luck a couple times.
But the one that hurts the most, obviously, was the we were up 28-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
I think that game won game of the year or something at the ESPYs, and that just was like just a jab in that wound to Chiefs fans.
So the record is actually even worse than 9-13. Because this is only counting regular season. So like I said, our last, not counting the last 3 wins that we had, our win most recent to those was 1985. That was actually the last time that we had won back-to-back games. We have not won back-to-back games against Indy, whether at home or away, since 1980 and 1985.
I think earlier, mid-2000s, the year we went 13-3, I'm almost positive we beat Peyton Manning in the regular season, but he whooped our butt in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah. So after 1985, we go on a 5-game losing streak to where we pick up a dub in 2004. And then after that dub, it is followed by no wins back-to-back, but losses back-to-back. So in 2004, that's a win followed by 2 losses, followed by a win, 2 more losses, followed by a win. And in 2019, the year we won the Super Bowl, might I add you, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs lost. 19-13.
I was there for that game. That was rough.
Ugly.
Would you go with me at that game?
Yeah.
That when Peyton came in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was at home. So
we had to listen to a Colts fan talk shit to us like the whole time he was with us.
Well, that sounds awful. Sounds about as awful as living in Indianapolis or anywhere else in Indiana. Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy. Indiana sucks. You have nothing. You have nothing. Fort Scott or whatever it's called. Nobody cares. Fort Wayne doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But that's a little history on the Chiefs. It's been an ugly relationship between the Colts. And yeah, I mean, the last time that we played them, we did lose, but we did go on to win the Super Bowl. Maybe that's a little telling. I don't know. But with that
Pat
little
had a
history,
couple highlight plays out of that last
most certainly.
Colts game,
Yeah.
though.
I mean, the score was obviously ugly.
Yeah, but in his for his birthday, they put out his like top 27 plays. I think he had one or two plays from that game that was in those highlights.
He does have a solid one or two plays per game, which is pretty nice.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, with that little history lesson, I believe Tybo has a history lesson of his own.
Oh, smooth.
It's a top five that includes some recent players and some not so recent players. So we do go back in Chiefs history just a little bit. But I'm coming at you with the top five non-QBs to throw a touchdown pass in Chiefs history. So anybody but a quarterback to throw a touchdown. To clarify. Of course, I'm going to give you an honorable mention. This guy isn't a notable player in Chiefs history. He just did something pretty impressive, and he made Tyler Thigpen look good. But Marcus Bradley had his 15 seconds of fame in Kansas City for throwing like an almost 40-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Thigpen, who like the defense we were playing had no idea that it was coming because Tyler Thigpen was wide open. Tyler, did you say you were at that game or?
Yes, I was. Yeah. I was at that game. It was. I covered it. Oh man, it was probably a few months back in the off season, but
yeah,
it was I don't even know. It was a pass outside to the left. Marcus Bradley runs the bootleg back right, and out of nowhere just launches a bomb, and Tyler Thigpen is wide open down the field. Thigpen, I believe, ends up tripping over his own feet as he usually did, and then gets downed without scoring a touchdown. Which, if he had stayed on his feet,
it's a touchdown.
Is it a touchdown? Oh, okay, never mind then. Yeah,
I think it said it was a 37-yard touchdown pass.
Takes it all the way in. So it was like I said, he was wide open. So instead of tripping over his own feet, he does end up running it in. But yeah, it was. I believe I was actually there for that game, it was wild.
And so moving to the actual top five, this goes back into our history, and I can't describe the play, but I looked at our records here, and this running back, Mr. Ed Podolak, did throw a touchdown pass. He played from 69 to 77, and I believe he is on our Ring of Honor. So that's why he makes the list. And same thing with the next guy. Even further back in our history, Curtis McClinton, also a running back, also in our Ring of Honor, threw one touchdown pass. And he played like from 63 to about the time Ed Podolak started playing. So that's a tiny history lesson, just a couple names, a couple big running backs in our history that have thrown touchdowns, but I can't describe to you the touchdown passes or plays that they made. The next three, I'll be able to describe a little bit, but number 3 on the list is Dontari Poe.
Oh, yeah.
And
big guy touchdown.
He makes the list. He was a great defensive lineman for us. I mean, he plugged up the middle like nobody else, and he didn't necessarily have a whole lot of prominence after he left us, and he hung on with the Chiefs a couple of years into his decline. But first few years of Dontari Poe, I was satisfied for where we took him in the draft. But I don't think anybody who was watching the Chiefs at the time forgets the jump pass and how creative and how funny and how awesome that whole play was. To see 300 some odd pounder jump up in the air and like throw a layup to somebody wide open in the end zone.
Dude, it's 305 pounds lining up in the quarterback position doing a jump pass like he's Tim Tebow. Absolutely wild.
Well, we would bring him in to block on run plays because he was also extremely good at that.
He ran one in too, didn't he?
I believe he
had
I think he ran a fullback dive in.
Really soon before that. That's why they were all ready for it.
Believe he's caught as well.
Yep.
Has he?
Pretty sure he has.
He's done it all. Wonder if he's the only person in our history to have run, pass, catch, and a sack.
Might be one of the few in the NFL.
But moving to number 2 on the list, the reason I don't give him number 1 is because he's terrible as a quarterback. I think he used to be a quarterback, but his quarterback rating for the Chiefs is terrible. I think he's throwing 1 or 2 picks. We really should stop giving him the ball to throw. And I think we have since this happened. But Travis Kelce, he threw a touchdown pass to Byron Pringle one time. And that's about as good as it got for him playing quarterback. So that's all we need to say about that. Number 1, short stint with the Chiefs, but a good one, Mr. Marcus Allen. He makes number 1 on the list because he has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Everybody else on this list has only thrown 1. So already he's miles ahead of Travis Kelce at the quarterback position. And, you know, if you're going to make me choose between one or the other to be quarterback for my team, I'm definitely going to go Marcus Allen. Hall of Famer. So deservedly, number 1 on the best non-quarterback Chiefs throw a touchdown.
Solid 5.
And very 1. Good 5. And some. It'll be changing every week, just as Tybo changes his top 5 every week, or every occurrence, we should say. That'll wrap it up for today's history lesson. We should move it on.
And I do want to say it's hard to think of these top 5, so please send us your suggestions.
Make sure to hit us up on Twitter. Drop a comment down in the comments for YouTube at Bob and Bo Show. Reach out. Let us know the top 5s you want to hear. It doesn't have to be football related. Doesn't have to be Chiefs related. He's done top 5 sandwiches.
I'm good at food. I like food.
He loves food.
We can do food.
Love food.
Food's an easy one. We'll keep it rolling from there into today's preview because the Chiefs also have a meal to eat. And that is a little bit of horse. I know Americans, no horse. It's typical in the Polynesian Islands, specifically Tonga. Okay, calm down. It's all right. We'll eat a little bit of horse out here.
I've heard it's pretty good. Like I wouldn't knock it before you try.
I'd eat horse. It's all right.
I'd eat horse.
Yeah, we'll see.
We go into Lucas Oil Stadium and take on the Colts. Obviously, this is not the same Colts that we have played in previous years. There's no Peyton Manning. The last time we played them and lost, it was Jacoby Brissett, which Matt Ryan undoubtedly. I honestly don't know who I would take over Jacoby and Matt Ryan at the moment. But this is a depleted team. But they do have the reigning, defending, rushing leader in Jonathan Taylor. The defense is a little wishy-washy. Michael Pittman should be back this week. What are your initial thoughts about this game?
I have one initial thought. And do you guys know who the Colts defensive coordinator is?
Not a clue.
It's a Gus Bradley. Do you know who he was the coordinator for last year?
It was a division rival, right? He was
division rival. Raiders.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He came out today quoted saying he thought that they held them down, the Chiefs down, Patrick Mahomes down in single high coverage. He thought he's not going to switch it up at all.
He didn't.
He's going to play single high coverage all day against us. He was like, they didn't score that many points against us, but guess what? How many points did we score last year? 41 and 48. 41 and 48.
It's a lot.
2 punts over 2 games. Like, I'm not worried. Gus Bradley's over there.
It's a lock. I didn't even realize that. Oh boy.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Pat's never lost in a dome. Pat is also extremely good on the road. Look what he did week 1 in Arizona. Look at his track record. I'm almost positive we've had a lot of seasons where or Pat's had almost a majority of seasons where he's had a better away record than he has a home record. he's just an alien, and in that way, these stats are anomalies when you compare to other quarterbacks in the league. But the only thing I would really be worried about is if like the Colts come as a fully healthy team. They have some significant players on the injury list. And Michael Pittman has gone through 2 light practices so far, so he's not a guarantee. And Yannick Ngakwe just did not practice today.
Yep.
So there's important players on the Colts team that are banged up and not a guarantee for Sunday. The only thing that would like truly worry me is if they come as a fully healthy team.
Yeah, like you were saying, Patrick Mahomes' a road record through his NFL career, 27-7.
Ridiculous.
Pretty ridiculous. And to touch on that injury report that I missed on, for the Kansas City Chiefs, Harrison Butker did not practice on Wednesday or today, Thursday. Neither did Mike Dana. Dana has not practiced since taking an injury in week 2. They have not put him on the IR yet. It's to be determined how soon he will come back. I'm assuming since he hasn't gone on the IR, they're expecting him to be back within a couple of weeks, but he has not practiced for well over a week now. Cole is a light practice on Wednesday and Thursday. And then the rest of the list is a full practice on both days, but MVS is listed with a hip, OB with his knee, Trey Smith with his ankle, OB and Trey Smith going back to last week in week 2, with Juju at his shoulder, and Justin with his chest, same as last week as well. All full practices. Some of the people that Tybo had missed, DeForest Buckner was listed as a light practice on Wednesday with a full participation on Thursday. Yannick, light practice, no practice. Pittman Jr. with 2 light practices. But do not forget about the safety, Julian Blackman, who is listed with a shoulder. Same for Zaire Franklin, linebacker, and Shaq Leonard, linebacker, with his back. All those were listed as full practices, but should be keeping an eye on them.
The tackle that's listed on their report, Bernard Raymond, is he their starting tackle? Is he a starter?
Well, I would assume so. Typically, backup tackles don't go down injured without the starter also going down. So I would assume that he is the starting tackle.
You never know, bro.
I've never heard his name, but he
That's what I'm
stays.
saying.
He stays on the list nonetheless. So, given the injuries, are we feeling, and our history, are we feeling that this is a trap game? They've obviously come off of a tie and a loss. They have underutilized the last year's rushing leader. How are we feeling about this game? I've got mixed emotions. I'm not sure which side of the ball to land on so far.
I'm not worried. Let me just say that up front. I'm not worried. We've had 10 days to prepare for this game. Andy's treating it like he normally does. We're looking forward to the challenge of playing the Colts. Okay, these boys are going to be ready. Pat is insane on the road. Never lost in a dome. There's not too many things that are alarming to me. The Colts don't look great. I know they want to bounce back after a really bad week. But the guys that have these ticky tack injuries on our team are all full practices. Any of the guys that are like out, we have replacement plans for them. You know, we can handle Mike Dana being out. We have a emergency kicker, but we also have a serviceable new hire kicker. So just understand that we can let the past go with the Colts. Okay. This year, it's not going to happen. Game 3, week 3 is not late enough in the season for us to have our mid-season lull where we just kind of like don't have it figured out. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I think as far as for the Colts right now, I know they had some players out last week as well, but they just did not look good on offense against the Jaguars. They really didn't look good on offense against the Texans either. Something's going on with that team. Management's definitely not managing it right now. They probably need to fire the coach, get rid of the GM and everything. They just need to start over there. But the other tricky thing about the Colts is their defense last year. They were top 10 ranked defense, according to a website we will not name. But if you look at it now, that was just basically all off of turnovers that they got that from. Their numbers for yardage and everything were terrible. They were a very turnover lucky team last year. And I don't see Pat making those mistakes in a dome tomorrow or Sunday.
And even with Willie Gay out on our defense, look for the guys that have been making plays already to step up and take control of this game. Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, Juan Thornhill, Justin Watson, L'Jarius Sneed. You know, a good mix of veteran guys and
Jalen
young
Watson.
guys. Did I say Justin?
Yeah.
Okay, well I meant Jalen Watson. Thank you. But a good mix of veteran players and young guys that like have already shown that they can make plays, and time is of the essence. One of our best defenders is out on the defense, and we need to keep the ship going the way it's going. We need to be undefeated going into the Bills game.
One thing I heard this week, and I don't disagree with the ranking, but I disagree with the reasoning for it. And it's not from the company that we won't name. No, it's from a media personality that he is a genius when it comes to getting clicks. But I do not agree with the way he goes about his business. Colin Cowherd. Constantly in the news for clickbait, for things that he knows are not true. This week, his ranking, again, I don't disagree with it. The teams that he has the Bills at number 1 and he has the Chiefs at number 2. I can't disagree with it. Right now, the Bills are playing fantastic. The Chiefs are playing fantastic. Leave that one up in the air. But his reasoning to it was that he does not believe that the Chiefs defense is good enough to hold up while Patrick Mahomes goes on a quarterback mechanical slide for 4 to 5 games in a row. When the hell has Patrick Mahomes ever gone on in a slide, period, outside of like half a quarter, maybe?
I think he's referring to what I'm talking about is our midseason lull, where I think the team just gets comfortable. I don't think it's a Pat problem. I don't think it's his mechanics. Like I think he's just kind of like reaching, and he's attacking the big name on the team, to get those clicks. Like,
and that's what I'm saying. He probably is referring to it, but his reasoning was specifically Patrick Mahomes will slide for 4 to 5 games.
That's not going to happen this year.
No.
What do we do?
There's too many people with Pat's name in their mouth. Pat's not going to. I mean, it's not a chance. Like.
I don't know. Are you guys hearing anything else in the media that is just a little off? I know we've got the film reviewers out there. Dan Orlovsky has done a great deal. We'll talk about a little bit of what he said in the NFL show coming up next. But there have been a couple other things. I know Good Morning Football has had some things also. Tybo?
Oh yeah, it was actually kind of cool watching Roy Taylor stick up for Pat Mahomes against one of his former teammates. Like, I understand Shady might have beef with Andy Reid, but come on now. You've played with Pat. Yeah. Just be honest. But what actually I was gonna this is actually kind of like entire NFL related, but I'll make it short here. Matt Verderami or something. He's got Verdam. He put out a quarterback ranking list that had Pat at number 1 and Josh Allen at number 2. And that part I agreed with. The rest of his list was trash. Joe Burrow is on his list with the way he's been playing this year. That doesn't make a lick of sense.
He's doing overall, or I didn't see that list. Is he doing overall or for this season?
That's a good question, but I don't know, man. Like, even with Joe Burrow's play, like I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, that'd be something to look into. But the rest of his list behind Josh or Pat Mahomes, and Josh Allen was whack. I did not like it.
With that said, Patrick Mahomes is obviously the number one quarterback in the league. I don't think anybody should be questioning that. I think Josh Allen is probably number 2, 3, somewhere in there, wherever you want to put him.
He
Pat
competes.
has
Like he's great,
he's
but
there.
he doesn't quite have the track record that Pat does right now.
Exactly, and you always have to go with track record. You have to go with track record.
You got to look
at
just
the
facts.
Not there.
You got to look at the facts.
Going back to track record, we clearly don't have a good one with the Colts. But we're all on the right side. Andy's track record is very good coming out of bye weeks. Now, obviously, this isn't a bye week from week 2, but we did have 10 days from Thursday night's game, so we've got a little mini bye week. Get some heels going, install, get some stuff right. Andy Reid, I believe, as a Chief, has only lost one game coming out of the bye week, or it's either one game or no games lost coming out of the bye week. It's completely pristine. Is there anything specifically about this Colts team that worries you with our offense or our defense?
If they use Jonathan Taylor enough, he kind of scares me. He is always a solid running back. He's always scary to see out there. If they actually just decide to use him instead of trust Matt Ryan passing everything, that could be in for a little bit of a long day, but I'm not too worried about anything other than that, really. Michael Pittman may do something, but Matt Ryan's not going to help them out very much.
Yeah, if they get Jonathan Taylor rolling, then other stuff might open up for them. But I honestly think that's a big if, because like who do we really have to key on that offense? Like Jonathan Taylor, and if Michael Pittman's out there, Michael Pittman. But like nobody else should or can scare us, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I'd say one of the things that worries me the most, again, our offensive line has not been playing poorly. I think we've covered that in our last shows. They've played well, but they have not played up to the ability that we know that they can play to. Statistically, run blocking, fantastic. Pass blocking has been subpar. Now, par for the Chiefs' offensive line is very high, so subpar is still pretty good. It's just not where we want it. Now, last week, it was pretty good against the likes of Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. But this week, we still do have to go against very good pass rushers. If Yannick is out, then that is going to be a big loss for that Colts defense, and I'm going to be a lot less worried. But we still do have Shaq Barrett and a couple other guys like DeForest Buckner and a couple other guys on that list that need to be watched and double teamed every time. If we cannot perform up to our standard, Pat could be in for a mobile day.
He's shown that he can handle that, though.
We've been there and done that. We've been there and done that.
And on the flip side of the running game, like if we let these boys continue to do what they do in the run game, if we keep that yards per carry average around 5 yards a carry, there's no chance we lose this game.
No.
If the running game is relevant for us and established, there's not a chance we lose this game.
No. And I'm looking forward to the matchup between DeForest Buckner and our interior offensive line. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. If Yannick Ngakoue is out, even better for us, another pass rusher out. But Shaquille Leonard is the one I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what he can do out there. I think they'll move him around a lot, utilize him as much as they can. But that's the main matchup I see from them coming from anybody that would do anything for them.
If I saw it correctly, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire averaging 8 yards a carry?
Could be. Let me look it up.
I saw
as a
stat.
team we're averaging 4.9.
I was gonna say he broke that runoff and he had 80 yards last week on only 8 rushes.
The rushing leaders by yardage is Saquon, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and Leonard Fournette. But by yards per carry, I do know that Clyde is in the top 5. In fact, I believe he's either number 2 or number 3 with
He's at 7.7.
7
Versus the Chargers, it was 9.3.
Okay.
Yeah, so that got
But
him
game 1, he had 7 carries, and game 2, he had 8 carries. So we're only working with 15. Yeah, 15 total carries here.
It's not a lot. Does Clyde eclipse 100 yards rushing this week?
I don't think so. I think if he's having a game where it looks like he might, we're going to be up by enough, and he's going to get pulled. They're not messing around with him this year. Yeah,
I think he'll definitely have well over 100 all-purpose yards.
That's a pretty good take.
I think he did last week.
I'd buy it
receiving
for sure.
Yeah.
Give me, boys, a quick rundown of how you expect this game to go.
We talking scores right now?
No, not scores. Just how you think the game is going to roll out. How Pat does, how the flow of the game goes. First down scenarios, possibly. How confident are you, and how do you think the game is going to go?
I mean, there's no hiding it. I'm extremely confident. I don't think the Chargers. I don't think the Colts get back on track against us. Even if bringing a couple of their guys back, it's not going to happen. I think Chris Jones gets another sack this week, and another defensive lineman also gets a sack. We're not talking about a corner blitz, and that might happen too. Like, I'm leaving that door open, but 2 defensive linemen for us are going to get a sack, and one of them is going to be Chris Jones.
Yeah, I honestly think this game's going to be very reminiscent of the Cardinals game, honestly. I just see us getting out to a big lead and them not being able to do anything until garbage time.
I like that. Who are the players to watch for this week, offense and defense?
Offensively, I'm gonna go ahead and take the obvious. He doesn't have Derwin James covered in this week. Travis Kelce's gonna have another big game. He's gonna be over 100 yards, 10 plus targets at least. So guy on offense to watch is gonna be Travis Kelce, but Pat's eyes are always on him, so that's fine.
I'm looking for defense. I'm gonna go straight defense here. I'm looking for Elijah Lee. If he's in there playing, see if he can replace Willie Gay a little bit. Get in there, try some stuff. Who is the other option for replacing Willie Gay right now?
Darius Harris from the report. So I was wrong. It was in the last show. It was not Damone Harris. It's Darius Harris. There was a report, I believe, from this morning's presser from Spags that Darius Harris is currently expected to take these starting snaps in Willie Gay.
That's my guy then. I'm looking for him. I like what I saw from him early in the preseason. I think he's got a lot to prove right now. What better opportunity than right now?
That'd be good. Tybo, who you got on defense?
Give me Karlaftis.
Lofty. What are you looking for from Lofty?
I'm looking for that motor to show out. He hasn't gotten his first regular season sack, has he?
He does not yet have a sack.
Well, I guess that leads me for my hot take to be the other defensive lineman for the Chiefs that's going to get a sack is going to be George Karlaftis. He was going up against Rashawn Slater a lot against the Chargers, and I'm sure he learned a lot. So hopefully guys like Chris Jones and Carlos Dunlap and Frank Clark are helping bring this guy along, helping him in film, looking at the stuff he did wrong and helping him to progress and get better. We've got this 10-day period that we've had to prepare for the Colts. I want to see him step it up. So that's who I'm watching.
Sean, did you have one for offense?
I did now. I realized that. My bad, Tybo.
Oh, you're good.
I'm looking at Juju Smith-Schuster this week. Rough week last week.
First touchdown as a Chief.
First touchdown as a Chief. I feel like he's going to go off this week.
A lot of people are throwing the bet on that prop right there.
Yeah.
Man, everybody's expecting him to get a tutty.
It's the week for it, man. This is the team to do it against. Pat's going to go off against single high coverage. He's going to find Juju a lot tomorrow. I'm expecting like maybe 7 catches minimum.
Okay. Wow, I like
really
that.
Go
I like
for him.
That a lot.
Really go for him.
On offensively, I really want to say Clyde. I still don't think they have the full confidence to throw to him more than like 3 or 4 times a game. I am going to say McCole. He's going to be a guy that they're not keying on. Just like Tybo said, I think like Travis is going to get a lot of work. He's going to get a lot of work. And I think Juju is probably going to be the guy that gets covered quite a bit more than Travis or any of the other receivers, which is going to leave McCole open. Coming off that injury that he had against the Chargers, he's had 10 days to rest. I think that's one of the guys that's going to get left open quite a bit. And Pat has come out and said that, hey, I owe this guy some work. So he's I'm expecting some long passes down the field to that fast and speedy weapon. Defensively,
I don't remember what capacity you said he practiced this week. Did he have a full practice today, or
he was not even listed? Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Because he's got something with his foot.
He did have the foot or the ankle. It was the ankle injury. He's not listed on. Oh yeah, he is. He's light practice.
Okay.
It's probably going to be questionable or maybe a game time decision, but expect him to come in and get work. If he doesn't, then there's going to be the rookie who takes his spot in the game, and that is going to be a Mr. Sky Moore, which I have also seen a lot of Chiefs Twitter talking about. Sky Moore getting close to 100 yards receiving. I'm not really sure where people are coming up with that. I'm just guessing that they're expecting us to be up by so much that Pacheco's going to come in and get a lot of work. That the same is going to happen with Sky Moore. Kind of get some of these younger guys to come in and get repetitions is possible in a lot of people's minds.
I got one thing for our offense that Chiefs fans should be on the lookout for. We saw it a little bit in the Chargers game, but if the Colts are going to let us do it, look for Andy Reid to lean on the screen game. It's comfortable. We know we don't have to do it later on in the playoffs. Like we don't necessarily like at one point in time, that's all we threw was screens.
Yeah.
So, Andy's gotten away from that for a while, but if the Colts are going to let us do it and it shows to be effective, look for him to lean on that screen game a little bit more this week.
Like that. Yeah. Get back into what we're good at. And defensively, I think there's one person that really needs to be looked at. He needs to step his game up if he wants to stick around. And that's going to be Frank Clark. He's been good this year. A lot of people like what he's doing can't be found on the stat sheet. It's staying home and staying contained. We played against 2 very mobile quarterbacks so far. And so far, even though he hasn't gotten on the stat sheet with sacks or hits, he has been staying contained fairly well on his side of the pocket. There hasn't been too many quarterback escapes over there. So the one thing I want to look at for Frank Clark this week, because Jonathan Taylor typically doesn't bounce it out, well, Matt Ryan's not very mobile. No. So expect the contained to not have to stay there, and he can push that pocket a little bit, especially now that knowing that they're going to be without one of their starting tackles, left, right, doesn't matter, defensive ends move. Expect Frank Clark to actually be able to push the pocket this week and play to the weaknesses against the Colts, and that's who I'm going to be looking for. Is there anything else, boys, that you wanted to talk a little bit about for this preview of Chiefs versus Colts?
I think we've covered everything I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be a good one. The top 5 was beautiful, Tybo, just as much as this game is going to be beautiful. Let's get our game picks in real quick before we get out of here. Tybo, what is your score?
Chiefs win 38-10.
Oh, I like that. First off, what's the pick'em over under?
Yes, we've got the over under. We are obviously doing money line, but from a sports book that shall not be named, the Kansas City Chiefs are a 5.5-point favorite.
What's the total points then?
The over under for this game is 50.5.
So Tybo's already going for the under there. I got Chiefs 48, Colts 16.
Wow.
48, huh?
48.
Highfalutin.
How does the team get to 48 points?
6 touchdowns and 2 field goals.
That man's good at math.
Okay, all right.
I would have
okay.
never gotten there.
that one should have been obvious. It's one minus 49.
Yeah.
My math skills have left me.
I'm gonna give the Kansas City Chiefs win 43-17.
Okay.
We've all got high scoring games. Tybo's the only one taking the under on 50.5. I'm expecting a lot of rookies to come in the fourth quarter. But there you have it, folks. Make sure to stick around for our NFL show. Like I said, check out our YouTube. Leave us comments. We want to hear your top fives and what you think the score outcome will be. So let us know on Twitter and in our comments on YouTube. And as always, go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs!